In less than 2 weeks now, voters here in San Antonio will be going to the polls to elect our city's next mayor and council members. But tonight, ask yourself, should there be greater checks and balances on the power of city councils?
As you're about to hear, there's a growing number of lawmakers in Austin who say yes, city halls need to be more accountable.
And as News 4 troubleshooter Stacey tells us, those state lawmakers want local leaders answering to them.
In many ways, Fort Stockton is the quintessential West Texas town.
And it's a pretty clean city. It's nice. I encourage you to look around. You may want to move here.
But a couple of years ago, City Councilman Darren Hodges admits his town had a trash problem.
We had a lot of plastic bags, and they were everywhere. Trees, fences, cactus.
Local leaders tried organizing community-wide cleanup projects,
but we kept having the bags everywhere.
With nothing working, City Council finally took action.
So we passed an ordinance banning plastic bags, and it's been effective.
So effective here, Hodges says other West Texas towns are now working to ban plastic bags. But at the state capitol, many conservative lawmakers don't like the ordinance. They're also against cities regulating things like minimum wage and fracking. So Republican State Senator Don Huffines is pushing a law
we created the municipalities
to curb the power of city halls all over Texas.
So we're responsible to make sure they don't trample the freedom and liberties of their citizens and of the business community.
In Texas, if a city's population tops 5,000, its citizens can pass a home rule charter, giving city council the power to regulate just about anything. Huffines says most cities don't overstep that authority.
They're handling everything perfectly and just right.
But according to him, a handful of city councils like San Antonio are out of control, passing regulations Huffines says violate state law and threaten the economy. To put the brakes on that,
a lot of business community is supporting this legislation.
Huffines' bill would block or preempt cities from passing an ordinance if the state claims regulatory authority.
That super preemption idea would be terrible.
Brett Sandlin is executive director of the Texas Municipal League. He points out Huffines isn't acting alone.
We've seen over 40 bills filed this session that would preempt cities and what they can do.
Saying preemption bills are really the handiwork of special interests that can't buy influence in city halls.
It's like a feeding frenzy of special interests come to Austin trying to say local voters don't have the power to dictate what happens in their town.
If special interests win, Sandlin says city councils will need to get state approval before passing any kind of ordinance.
I would argue that at that point, why would you need a city council? Why would you have to have a mayor?
Councilman Ray Saldana is spearheading San Antonio's fight against preemption. He's worried a lot of local laws could get stripped off the books.
No handheld devices while driving, protections for the LGBT community, the smoking ban, or tree preservation ordinances.
And Saldana says Senator Huffines' preemption bill would silence San Antonio voters, people who expect City Hall to protect local health and safety.
That's what I think is under attack by the senator who wants to strip all control from cities.
Well, on the contrary, this bill is about really more liberty and more freedom. I mean, we are the state legislature. The state legislature created the rules in the municipalities, and they need to follow what we say is their guidance.
Huffines' preemption bill is currently stuck in committee.
I'm against these bills that are being debated right now.
Back in Fort Stockton, Councilman Hodges, a self-proclaimed Tea Party Republican, says he has a message for conservative lawmakers who support preemption.
Texas says we want Washington, D.C. to leave Texas alone, let us make up our own rules and deal with our own problems our way. And we say the same thing to Austin. If you'll let Fort Stockton solve our own problems, we'd appreciate it.
Besides Texas, no fewer than 8 states have eyed preemption bills in recent years, including our neighbors in New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. But Texas may be unique because the idea of home rule, letting cities govern themselves, is set out in the state constitution, meaning if any of these preemption bills pass, the battle is likely not going to be over until the Texas Supreme Court has its say. I'm News 4 troubleshooter Stacey Cameron.